So I wanted to look a little bit more at the crap that we're told. The best oxymoron is jobless recovery. Okay. Here in Phoenix, the unemployment is 9.2%. Can't even get a service job here. And it's a right-to-work state, which means you have the right to work but not get paid. Now, under George Bush, we worried and had to suffer through outsourcing. All our jobs went away. But now that we have Obama in office, we don't have to worry about outsourcing. Now we have to worry about insourcing. You know what that is. It's when they bring somebody else in to do your job for half the pay. Obama says he wants our kids to stay in school longer. This is recent news. And I said, with the way the economy's going, they'll probably be in school until they can collect Social Security. Now they tell us we have, all throughout the country, 22 pharmaceuticals in our drinking water. 22 pharmaceutical drugs. So that means we can no longer drink water because they told us to just say no to drugs. We also now have intersex fish. Fish have both sexes happening in the same little squiggly body because of all the animal runoff in the water, and obviously they're stoned out of their minds from those 22 pharmaceutical drugs. But I look at it in a happy way and say, finally, hermaphrodites have something to eat. I always say it, and I'll say it over and over, just say no to legal drugs.
Yeah.
Approved by an alcohol.
Yeah.
Forget about it. So we have to change the way we react to this matrix. The best way to react to it is not to react to it. Just say no. Say no to all of it. Not only just say no, but learn to laugh at it, or as the Brits say, oh, you're having a laugh. And stick with that. So I said, okay. So from now on, when we see chemtrails in the sky, and Phoenix is loaded with them, when the skies aren't being sprayed, I worry. I miss that. So I've decided that from now on, when the chemtrail patterns are flying in the sky, let's all just look at it as though it's one big Andy Warhol painting for all of us to enjoy. In Brooklyn, where I grew up, we had an expression which was called, what the? And I think you can figure out the third word, okay? When I interpret the news on my show, and you have to be an interpreter from the garbage that passes for news, there are always these what the stories, okay? So I'm going to give you a couple of what the's. Another oxymoron, the Federal Reserve. Neither federal, it's not a reserve, it's just one big sucking machine. Then we got the IRS, which is the collection agency for the Federal Reserve, taxing us on what they're not supposed to, our pitiful wages. What the is what I say. Okay, we have 6 Roman Catholics now on the Supreme Court, or as I like to refer them as Dopus Dei. Whose law are they promoting? Hello? Separation of church and state, anyone? And never trust a man who wears a dress. Then we have the Brothers Emmanuel, with names right out of the Old Testament, Ezekiel and Rom, dual citizens of Israel in our government. They couldn't find an American citizen to take those jobs? Whose agenda are they following? I did a show a couple of weeks ago on nanoparticles, and as David has, if you're on David's list, you know David sent out the nanoparticles on the tips of the vaccine for the swine flu. But you don't know that there are nanoparticles in our food, and those socks guaranteed not to make your feet sweat, and lots of other things like that. Nanoparticles are self-replicating like little Pac-Man. Now they're tested by the FDA, forever drugging America. but they're already in our products, in our food. So I would say, well, that's a big whopper. You may go out to lunch today and order a clone burger. You'll have no way of knowing if it's a clone burger because we don't have the right to have that labeled in America. So try to not clone around. Okay, we had cops who said their sound cannon was only going to be used for crowd control in Iraq until it was used on American citizens in Pittsburgh. What happened to protect and serve? Oh, that's right. They're protecting themselves from 72-year-old grandmas with tasers and serving themselves. That's a what the big time. We've got an island of garbage floating in the Pacific that is now bigger than the United States. Man's contribution to the beauty of nature. We have a vaccine for the bioengineered swine flu of 1918, but we have no vaccine for the pandemic of poverty, hunger, the 2 million babies that are born worldwide every year in childbirth, the 800,000 mothers that die in childbirth worldwide every year. People said that we'd get a cure for cancer when pigs fly. Well, swine flu. We have millionaires voting on health care while we give them wealth care. And I said, let's give them what we have, nothing, and watch how fast they move their asses to get us coverage. We have a drug bust in this country every 18 seconds, and yet the criminals on Wall Street are getting our tax dollars. Now, if that's not a big profit, I don't know what is. 9/11 happened. No one was fired. If you stole a box of paper clips at work or show up one day late, you lose your job. I say, hello, SNORAD. Building 7 collapsed. It wasn't even hit. I figured out what happened to Building 7. It was that damn magic bullet. Still traveling.
Still traveling.
They made phone calls from the planes before the technology was even invented. I mean, that's mankind at its best. So here we are in the U.S. of A., or as I like to call it, the United States of assholes, where our fearful leaders use rubber bullets, sound cannons, protest pages, tasers, etc. on all of us, and they need their troops to protect from us. And I'd rather have my government fear me than the other way around. Yeah.